my channel, Endless Sewing and Arts. My name is Trish, and today I'd like to do a tutorial, or I'd like to show you a tutorial on how to make these little drawstring bags. There's a couple local businesses here in town that I sell them to. One uses them as tarot card bags, and one sells them with their organic homemade lotions as a gift bag. And so I thought it would be fun to share with you on how to make them. They're really easy and it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's go. All right, so here we are at the cutting board. I am using a quilting square and a rotary cutter, and of course with my rotary board. This bag right here, to make this size of bag right here, we're going to use this at 8 1/4 inch, and so you're just going to put that on your fabric. Make sure that your line is straight here and straight on your fabric there. You're going to do one cut there. Then you're going to move your board up one, and you're going to cut it one more time, because you're going to double it, because you're going to be folding this in half. So you're going to cut that down there. Straight across. Make sure you got no fingers in the way. All right. And that you can use later, and we're ready to go. Okay, so we got our piece cut out, and the first thing we want to do is iron it. Make sure it's nice and flat. All your wrinkles are out. And then you're going to hem the sides. So you're just going to fold this over just by eye. This is what I do. And I just take a little bit like this. Hold it down with your finger there. Be careful not to burn yourself. You're going to iron this down for your hem. Then you're going to fold it over one more time. That you're going to put a couple pins in to hold it in place while you're sewing it down. I just use 3, one on each end and one in the middle, and that will be enough to keep it together. Flip it around and do the other side exactly the same, and just kind of eyeball it over a little bit right there. Just doing a simple little hem here. And this way you'll see when your bag is done and you turn it inside out, you won't have any frayed edges. It'll all be nice and clean, and none of the items that you put in your drawstring bag will get snagged up on any of your raw edges. Well, it's a nice clean edge. I really like that. All right, so now let's get it over to the sewing machine, and we're going to sew these two sides down. All right, so now we're going to sew your hem down. You sew your hem all the way down. We're going to go in about 1/8 inch. Remember to always back stitch so that your seam does not come apart. We're just going to go straight down. Get your back stitch, and done. And do the other side the same way. All right, so now we have our two sides hemmed. We're going to do the ends now. So let me iron that. It takes a few seconds to get the ironing on here, but you know what? It's well worth it because it does help hold your seam down while you're pinning and sewing. So let's do that. It's a little bit of heat on there. Makes it a whole lot easier to do. Let me grab my pins. And speaking of pins, my husband got me this pin magnet for Christmas. It was in my stocking. I've been sewing for 30-something years and have never had one. And let me tell you, if you don't have one, you should get one. It's really awesome. Look at that. There'll be a, just in my description, I'll put the link to Amazon for this magnet, the rotary cutter, and my mat if you're interested. All right, so let's iron the other side real quick. All right, now we're back at the sewing machine. We're going to sew all right, now we're back at the sewing machine, and we're going to sew our hems on the end. So just get it under there, and I'm just going right along the edge of your hem. Don't forget to backstitch. I say that because my daughter, she called me one time because her projects were falling apart, and we couldn't figure out why, and then realized she wasn't backstitching everything. So it's pretty important. If you're a new sewer, it's really important to do that. All right, let's get this other side. Let's get our pins. I know some people take their pins out before they sew. I learned from my grandma, and that's the way she did it, so that's how I do it. All right, so now we've got your whole piece ready to put together. All right, now that we've got our two ends sewn together, let me show you how to make our opening for our drawstring ribbon. So now what we're going to do is, what I do is I take my safety pin, because this is how you're going to get your ribbon through your enclosure here. I lay my safety pin down, and you want to give enough room for your seam, or to sew for your seam and your safety pin. So I'm going to go with right about there. That'll be perfect. So get that pinned. And then you're going to do the other end the exact same way. And you can even, if you want to, fold it over and just kind of measure it up. Like this, fold it in half and measure it up. And then they'll be exactly the same. So just go like that. Perfect. So you got the same. You can see on both sides are exactly the same. So let's pin that. Oops. Just make sure you don't pin it to the other side. All right, let's get those sewn down. All right, so now we're going to sew those down. I always like to cut my threads off as I go, otherwise you find them all over the place later. All right, get those pins out. All right, see how fast that is? All right. Now we're going to get our bag sewn together. All right. Now we got our two ends ready for our drawstring section. So we're going to fold our bag in half. And you're going to match this up here. And again, we're going to pin these together. We're going to sew these sides. And I've probably made about 150 of these bags, or close to. And I learned this the hard way, so I'm going to tell you guys right now. All right, so now we're ready to sew the sides of the bag together. Just a little tip that I've learned is when you sew the side, make sure you stay on the right side of that seam, so that when you turn the bag inside out, that seam won't be seen. All right, now we're going to sew the sides of our bags up. It's ready to go. Staying on the inside of that outside line. And you're going to sew, you're not going to sew across here because you got to get your ribbon through here for your drawstring. So you're just going to sew right up to the edge of that. Make sure that you do a back stitch. And then we're going to do the other side. All right, so now we're going to sew the other side. And remember right here, all right, so remember right here, you do not want to go over your hem here because that's where your ribbon's going to go through for your drawstring. So you're going to sew right up to the edge of it, stop, and do a reverse stitch. Come back up to it and stop and take it out. All right, now we got the sides of our bag sewn together. We're ready to turn it inside out. So just stick your hand inside. Use your finger just to kind of poke the corners out. And then what we're going to do is get our ribbon ready. I pre-measured 24 inches on this ribbon, but actually when I'm here at home by myself, there's a spot on my dresser where the edge of my drawer is, and I know if I put it there to the edge of my dresser, it's 24 inches, so if I'm making a bunch of them, I can just lay it there and cut it. You don't have to get your measuring tape out every time. So I'm going to do that right now. I'll show you. Hopefully you saw most of that. And then I'm just going to cut the second piece right there. So you will need ribbon. This is satin. You can also use, this is satin ribbon. You can also use like a ribbed ribbon or whatever you like. Then what you're going to do is take your safety pin. You're going to put it on the end of your ribbon here. And then you're going to get one of your, go on the edge of your hem, and you're going to stick that ribbon through there with your safety pin and run it through. And you're going to come out the other side, and then you're just going to continue on around, and you're going to stick it through that side. You know, and when I first started making these, I was like really confused, like, how do you get the drawstring part? I didn't quite get it. So you've got it done through there. You went all the way around. You got it on both ends out. So now you're going to get your other piece of ribbon that you cut. And you're going to start on the opposite side. So you've got two pieces sticking out here. Now you're going to go on this side. And you're going to run it through. And it's going to go through on that one. I know this part's probably kind of hard to see. But now you're going to have ribbon sticking out of both sides, and that's where you get your drawstring from. So you've got that ready. So now what we're going to do is make sure that these are even, and we're going to put our beads on. All right, now that we have our ribbons through, you want to make sure you cinch your bag up and that your ribbons are even on both ends so that when you open your bag, it doesn't offset your ribbons. You want to keep them even. So I have some beads over here that we're going to put through. So what I do is just pull your ribbons together so that they're even, and then you're going to fold them kind of at the corners a little bit here. And you're just going to run them through the bead like that. And I have two. You can do, I mean, you can do 1 to, 10, whatever you want to do, whatever you like, but I just put 2. And then just tie the ends like this. Tied once, now I'm going to tie it again. Try to make it go on top of this first knot like that. And then to make this look nice and cleaned up, because it's kind of frayed, you can see, I just take my little scissors here and cut at an angle like this. And it kind of cleans that up. All right, so let's do this side. Remember, it helps if you fold them in half. And sometimes I use wooden beads. I have some really pretty wooden beads I use. These are plastic ones. All right, and then we're going to tie this one off same way. First knot and your second knot. All right, let's clean this up. And then you're going to pull your beads down to the end, like so, so they don't come off. Make sure they won't. And then you can open your bag up like that. And they're great for anything. Giving gifts, holding your glasses. All right. Well, thank you all for watching my video. Please like, subscribe, and share. And if you have any questions or feedback, please leave in the comments below.